Let's go back to what we started with, self-sabotage, because it's a huge issue that many of us, most of us, have experienced. So when you think of self-sabotage and think of cases when you sabotaged yourself, what comes to mind? Just from the common sense perspective, why do we do it? It's so counterintuitive.
What I think of is when we think of, we're conditioned to, someone could tell us 10 amazing things about ourselves and one terrible thing about ourselves. We focus on the one terrible thing, and how we started, and why we can't live in joy and be happy, even like when our external circumstances are there and fine. Why do we find unrest? It's almost like maybe we're programmed to, not programmed, maybe we're conditioned to have a problem, to like be more comfortable in pain and suffering than joy and happiness, which is crazy.
But this is the fact. And I like how passionate you were when you said it. It is indeed crazy, but it is the fact of life for most people. And I think it goes back, the roots go deeply into our inability to accept ourselves. Perhaps this entire idea of the original sin, that even people who are not religious, they will live in this culture that is permeated with the idea of the original sin, that something's fundamentally wrong with us. That, as you gave the example, 10 good things, one bad things, will focus on this bad thing, because we were conditioned to not accept ourselves for who we are, and for constantly we're constantly becoming something. We cannot be at peace with who we are, with ourselves as we are here and now. And I think it's even promoted in our society. We have to constantly work on ourselves, become something. It's the same thing as the original sin. Something's wrong with us and we need to be better. So yes, we are conditioned to feel it. And with our brain, this is something I wanted to talk about a little bit, that our brain is an amazing, amazing machine. Yet it likes to work in patterns. And yet it is rather lazy. It likes to continuity. So all addictions and all healthy habits that we have, both healthy and unhealthy, are based on this quality of the brain or tendency of the brain. Whatever we do repetitively becomes our second nature. If this something happens to be a healthy thing, like brushing our teeth, taking showers every day, we cannot not do it, and it's a healthy habit. But if, for example, it's a addiction, if we tend to addiction to alcohol, addiction to certain unhealthy behavior, unhealthy eating, sex addiction, all this is based on the same ability of the brain to, not ability, but tendency of the brain to go over and over toward repetitive behavior. Then the more we do it, the more difficult it is for us to start the new behavior. And that is why I usually say, don't try to fight unhealthy habits. It's almost impossible to kill a habit. What you can do, on the other hand, is start developing a healthy habit and do more and more parallel to this unhealthy one, do more and more healthy habit. And then this one will die in its own, because you don't reinforce it. Eventually it will die. So don't even bother killing your unhealthy habits. And with this self-sabotage, I believe that the nature of it is that this very, like, by millennia conditioned idea that something's wrong with us, it's deep inability to accept ourselves, and we just project it onto our behavior.
I think that of accept ourselves, but want to change. I think I want to just pause on what you just said of like not trying to change what we perceive to be unhealthy habits, but build new ones around it.
Not around, parallel to it.
Parallel to it.
Yeah.
We always want the conditioning is wanting to be different or be better or change versus accept what is right now and build. And I think that's so profound in not fighting where we are.
Exactly. And I believe that self-sabotage is a continuation of fighting where we are, just if self-hatred and self-loathing is it's an emotional part. Sabotage is doing the same, but on the behavioral level. Mm-hmm. So we really want to be successful, but we self-sabotage. It's counterintuitive. Why do we do it? Because we cannot accept ourselves for who we are.